is the moment we waited for. Everything you want is right here. We gon' give them what they came for. We gon' take it up from last year. Shoot 'em my shot, boy, I'm long range. Me and the team on the same thing. Stayed down, never switched up. Only thing changed was the game. I'm in the zone now. Nothing can change what we on now. When I pull up, know it's going down. Foot on the gas, ain't no slowing down. Aiming for greatness, no settling. Kick down the doors, they won't let me in.
What up? It's your boy Phil Porto, aka Phil All Caps. Some of y'all might know me as That's the Spirit. Either way, I am back. I am your host of the Knicks Nightcap, and I am looking forward to today's episode. There's a few things I'm looking forward to. First, connecting with my guy Apollo. It's always a good time. We love talking ball, and I'm excited because later in this month, I'll actually be where he resides in North Carolina, and we're going to try to link up and hang out while we're out there. So I'm looking forward to that. Second, what I'm excited about for this episode is that my favorite whiskey brand, Rare Character, will be on the show with us. Peter, one of the two owners, will be part of the episode, and we'll be talking one of their rare bottles that I was blessed to have them send me. And then we will also be joined by my guy, Frank. He goes by Burb Your Enthusiasm. He's actually a writer for Up Rocks magazine and has done some really, really dope interviews as of late, as well as mixing hip hop with whiskey. So the episode's going to be a lot of fun. No enemy territory today because everyone rocking with us is rocking with the Knicks like they should. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to, just chopping it up and hanging out. And the vibe is going to be weird. I'm going to be honest. It's going to be weird. All right. Even right before we got here, I'm just singing about the intro and going live soon and my microphone and how it sounds or doesn't sound. And Apollo was just like cracking up because I was just being a straight goofball. So without further ado, here's my guy, Mr. Apollo freaking Reed.
Yo. What's good, my guy? Peace, bro.
I did download one of those. How's it going, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm here. Do I sound weird? I don't sound weird, right?
No, you don't sound weird.
Okay. Maybe it's just me. But yeah, I'm good. I'm here, man. I'm didn't like the ending of last night, but I'm here. We being positive today.
We're going to talk about that. We'll see how that goes. Shout out to Nostalgic Nick in the building with the fire emojis saying, "What's up, Apollo?" And then right here, my guy, Prezi the Boss. Head nods to the hottest intro, the rewind, the best Knicks content on a Thursday night. Knicks Nightcap. It's all about top shelf whiskey, popping vibes, and my guys, Phil All Caps and Apollo Reed. Salute. If you guys can, please hit a retweet button. Do us a favor, hit us on Instagram, give a little post right there. If you're on Facebook, share it on Facebook as well. Not because we care to build our own brand, but building the KOT family as a whole, and also just putting out dope Knicks content because we enjoy it and we know you guys enjoy watching it. So without further ado, Apollo, let's break into some of the topics for today before our guests get here. Shout out to the host with the most, my guy Jay Ellis in the building. I'm assuming is the one behind the KOT profile right now. But we went on a crazy little streak. We had 3 consecutive 130-point games. We were looking sharp. Our team was firing on all cylinders. The ball was moving. Things were looking great. We talked about assists, when I was on the KOT show the other day with my guy Ryan G and Lee Escobedo. And we kind of just chopped it up. And Fritz, and it was a good time. We were enjoying Knicks victories. So we beat the Nets. We beat the brakes off the Nets. Like, that's not even really worth talking about. We destroyed them. And then we beat the Grizzlies, and we were putting belt to behind for a long time in that game. And then we kind of took our foot off the gas and slammed on the brake a little bit, but we still won that one with flying colors. And then we come to yesterday's game against the Magic, and we lose 124-107, and they pretty much had to lead the whole game, even after Paolo went out in that first half. And it was kind of a hard game to watch. Like, what were your initial thoughts before we start breaking into the topics? Like, what did you see while watching the game?
Well, I mean, first of all, I missed the Grizzlies game because for good reason. You know, it was my 7th anniversary. So shout out to my wife. You know, happy anniversary, baby. So I missed Tuesday's game, but you know, I was like, you know, I was able to. Was it Tuesday that we played the Grizzlies? Was it the
I
Grizzlies?
think so.
Yeah,
I think it
yeah,
was Tuesday.
yeah. So I missed that game. So yesterday, I'm like, all right, give me some Knicks basketball. And they started off slow. I'm like, all right, this is expected. You know, they got, you know, tired legs, which, you know, it was cool. But as the game went on, I'm like, all right, what's going on? Like you said, Paolo gets hurt. And I'm like, all right, what's going on? Why are these guys not getting back into this game? And they just kept building that lead. And you know, initially I just thought they would get back into it in the second half, which they kind of did. They played a little bit better, but I think after a certain point, guys just weren't hitting shots outside of Jalen Brunson. That's pretty much the only person that could really hit shots. Defense, terrible defense. It was just they weren't really passing the ball around. It was just a lot. I'm sure we'll get into it more, but you know, initially I thought it was going to be a good game to watch, and it ended up being a very difficult game to watch as it went on.
Yeah. And I agree, man. Like it was hard for me to watch in the sense of like this is the team that I feel like in the East did the most to kind of spruce themselves up in the offseason. Because one of the things that they really needed was a confident shooter. They had all the length that you would need in a team. They had the assertive in the paint scorers with the Wagner brothers, and you know they just have that kind of power to take you when it's in the paint. But knockdown 3-point shooting, they didn't really have that. You know, with Suggs, he's more of a dribble, you know, mid-range, take you to the basket kind of player, can shoot an open three when he's got it. But when it comes to actually being able to execute something from confident 3-point shooting, they didn't have that. And they went out and they got Bane, you know, and that is a great addition to them. Like that is such a great addition to their roster. And so for me, I wanted to see how the Knicks would fare up against these guys. Like
Mhm.
that was for me the East is test for us. And we just underdelivered, like straight up underdelivered. You know, like I understand that we have that back to back that you mentioned, but at the
Mhm.
end of the day, fatigue and effort are two different things. Like, or straying away from what's working. That's completely different things. Fatigue is going to happen. And when you look at the fact that these guys are making millions and millions of dollars, like I understand it's a back to back, but this is also their job. You know, this is what they're supposed to do. And when you look at our, you know, starting lineup, it's not like we have a bunch of young rookies that still need to get acquainted with what it's like to play in a back to back. Like all of our guys in our starting lineup know what a back to back entails. You know, they know what is going to be needed to win a back to back. This isn't something new for them. So that excuse doesn't really vibe with me. Like I understand fatigue is going to be there and they're not going to play as sharp, but there was worlds of difference from what we've been
Mhm.
seeing from the Knicks in the 7 games that we've won and what we saw last night. There was worlds of difference. And
Yeah.
so the first thing I want to bring up was the fact that instead of focusing on the fact that we're getting our teeth kicked in, our guys continued to complain and complain and complain. And if you don't agree with me, well, even the coach agreed with me. You know,
Mhm.
even Mike Brown went on record talking about how he was not happy with the fact that our guys were constantly, you know, in a state of making excuses for themselves. And so I'm going to pull that up real quick because I think that that was a great clip by Mike Brown talking about, you know, what is going on with the Knicks in that game. So let me find that one real quick, bring it on over. Um, and let's see. I'm new to this whole presenting thing, guys. All right. I usually don't share anything because I'm afraid YouTube's gonna like kick it out, but I'm gonna take a risk right now. I think it's right there. Boom. All right. And there's no sound. So we're gonna start that all over.
And that was disappointing to see
Uh,
because we were the culprits of a
is
lot
it
of
showing?
things that happened out on the floor.
Nope.
No. All right.
I can hear it.
8 points.
Yeah, I can hear it too, but it's not showing.
Yeah.
So let me try again. Sorry, guys. I apologize. Like I said, this is new to me. There we go.
Thing that I was most disappointed in was in the first half, everything that happened on the court, we blamed the officials. And that was disappointing to see because we were the culprits of a lot of stuff that happened out on the floor. 6 of their first 8 points came from the free throw line, and we fouled them. I couldn't even use a challenge because we were fouling. And if one of our keys is to play physical without fouling, but the first 6 points or first 3 or 4 possessions that they have start at the free throw line, then we're not giving ourselves a chance and we're letting them feel comfortable with the way that they play.
So, sorry, Jay Ellis. He said it was kind of low. Was it low for you too, Apollo?
I could hear it. It didn't.
You couldn't?
I mean, it was a little low,
Okay.
but I could hear it. I could hear it though.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I'm still working on, this whole sharing thing. But I did like that. I liked the accountability that we saw from Mike Brown because it's true. Like, we can make excuses all day long on why we, weren't getting calls. We weren't getting this. We weren't getting that. But at the end of the day, you didn't get the call. No matter how many times you complain about it, the call didn't happen. So actually focus and play the game and hold yourself accountable. Don't always blame the ref when 9 times out of 10, when you looked at the replays from those games, we were guilty of the fouls that they were calling. We were guilty of the things that they were saying that we were doing. So what are your thoughts on that? First, the team needing to actually stop complaining, but also Mike Brown being willing to put that and be like, no, this isn't a referee thing. This is us. We got to fix this.
Yeah, I mean, I hate when they get to complaining because that becomes the focus. You know what I mean? And I tell all of my friends and anybody who talks to me about basketball, I'm like, you have to play well enough that you make the refs irrelevant. You know what I mean? That's just a rule you have to live by, because at this point, you kind of know that you're not always going to get the call you want.
Yeah.
So what is the point of complaining every single time you don't get the call, especially certain guys? I don't want to call guys out, but it's annoying because you should know better by now. You know what I mean? It's kind of ridiculous. But for him to call them out, that's exactly what you're supposed to do as a coach. You know what I mean? It's you got to hold them accountable. You got to hold yourself accountable. And that's, I tell my kids that all the time. One of them I'll tell them, you can't do this or that, or you stop doing this. And they'll say, well, but so-and-so is doing this. And I'm like, okay, well, you still have to take accountability for what you did as well. And that's just the point. Like, yeah, of course the ref might have missed it, but at the end of the day, you might be complaining because you didn't get a call on the other side. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that you didn't foul them, so take accountability for what you did and just play better defense. That's it.
Yeah. And that's so true because, like, at the end of the day, one thing we always said was the best ability, yes, is availability, but also accountability. Because if you continue to blame everybody else and you never look in the mirror, that is such a huge issue. Like, Michael Jackson didn't make a hit for, Man in the Mirror because no one could relate to it. Like, everyone could relate to it, like, if you want to see something change, you got to first look at yourself and see if you are the cause of the problem. And if you are, then you need to fix it. Like, sometimes, yes, a ref might have called a wrong, call. But when you just spent 5 other plays complaining just as much, what do you expect? What do you want to happen? So it was huge, and, I see right here, Julian Bloom said, Cat is a big crybaby. I'm not knocking anybody. But that was one of the huge plays that we saw was Cat straight up complaining, like, wouldn't get over the fact that, like, he continued to deal with, the ref after he had been pulled off by so many of his teammates and told to let it go. Like, he could not let it go. So this is the clip. If you missed the game, this is what Julian's talking about. if you just see, he tracked him down. And this is after everyone thought that he was letting it go. He went back and he went back and he kept on going. Like, bottom line, whether you think that's a foul or not, you did come down with that hand. There was contact on both sides. So either way, the other person probably could have a case to argue. But at the end of the day, you did not get the call. So stop complaining about it. So I agree. Cat and Hart are usually the biggest culprits. That's what Jay Ellis said, and he's right.
Facts.
And it's crazy because I like Cat, but when he's spending so much time arguing, he's also giving them an upper hand because he's not focused on what he's supposed to be doing, which typically is on the defensive end. And we know he's not the greatest defender as is. So now you take your mind off what you're actually supposed to do, and it's actually going to be a bigger problem than before. So before we go into the next topic, let's run through some of the people that we got here in the chat. My guy, Nostalgic Nick's in the building. Like I said earlier, Prezi the Boss is here. Jay Ellis is in the building. Carbon Intellect is here. Phil with the 1,000th Knicks cap. I'm surprised you don't have a whiskey and a cap wall in the background. They think it's a Photoshop. Bro, I did before I started traveling full time. So me and my family, we actually live in a 40-foot toy hauler that we built out. And so it's about 300 square feet of space. So the fact that my room is probably the size of some of your guys' bathroom does not allow for the whiskey hat and sneaker wall anymore. Tunes in the building. Appreciate you. Who else do we got up in here? We got my guy D Grant. Appreciate you so much. No JB. Knicks will be tested on the road for sure. That's a fact. Who else do we got in the building? Julian Bloom. Appreciate you always being out here. But yeah, so appreciate everyone that's showing up. The Man Cave just showed up. He said, salute to the almighty panel and chat. Appreciate you, bro. But let's talk next topic. All right. So we just talked about Orlando destroying us. There needs to be more effort, less complaining. But we lost by a lot. We lost 107 to 124. And like I said, that's without Paolo. And what did we talk about the other day was my key to success. I'll let you say it because you know that I've preached this till I'm blue in the face. So what is my thought on our key to winning?
Passing the ball.
Yeah. And how many assists do I say that we need?
30.
30 assists. Awesome. And how many games have we won so far doing that this season?
I haven't been paying attention to that number exactly, but I feel
quite a
like
bit.
every game that we won, we were close to it. We were around like 27, 28.
Every game but 2, and yet we still had more assists than the other team in those 2 games.
Yeah.
So it's crazy to me how we strayed away from that. And we didn't just stray away from it by a little. We had 20 assists to their 29 assists. Like, the ball barely moved last night. Like, there was no ball movement. Like, I don't know what I was witnessing last night, but it was just like we went back in time before we found a system that was working and went back to what wasn't working. And it was frustrating to watch because when you're playing a team like that their defense is so good, you need ball movement. Like, you absolutely need ball movement. So what are your thoughts on that? Because it to me, it mind boggles me and I don't even know what to say.
I mean, I tweeted exactly that last night while I'm watching the game. I said, against a team that's this good defensively, if you don't pass the ball and keep swinging the ball you won't get open shots. It just won't happen. Yeah, I don't know what made them go away from it. There was a lot of ISO last night. I mean, you were only they only like 9 assists. Like 9 assists away is crazy. First of all, they had 9 more assists than we did, but that's not even counting, how many passes per game these guys normally get just by trying to get an assist. And that's the point that I really was upset about. I'm just sitting there watching them. I'm like, you guys are just gonna go one-on-one all game? Like, it's head full of steam, you know what I mean? And Jalen did it sometimes as well, but at the end of the day, everyone went against the scheme. And to me, that's what I look for. If you have a let's say if you I don't even know how to put it into words at this point. But long story short, I don't want to drag this out too much, but I just didn't like how they didn't keep the effort and intensity that they were normally doing. I kind of lost my thought.
No, you're good. Well, let's talk about the next point then.
Yeah.
Okay. Because yes, it's frustrating. Like to me, when this offense works, everyone looks best when there's ball movement. Cat looks better. JB looks better. Josh looks better. Deuce looks better. Clarkson looks better. Like everybody looks better. Mikhail, is able to score because they're, believing that Jalen will actually pass. And so what they said was they actually studied up on us. The Orlando Magic said they studied up on us, and so they kind of knew what they wanted to do and they had their way with us. And so when you watch it back, and shout out to my guy Lee, he's been doing like breakdowns of certain plays, the night of the game. But when you watch their defense against us, it was lockdown defense. And so when you stray away from ball movement when it's already lockdown defense, that is just ignorance to the max. Because now you're not only being defended well, but you are also being as predictable as possible. And that is frustrating. And with these guys, they have the height. So you have the length that you need. You're able to stop, Jalen at certain times. Jalen still put up his numbers, but his numbers weren't great. Like when you actually look at, his percentages, those weren't great. Like he still stacked his points, but the numbers weren't great. And so it was frustrating to watch us pretty much spoon feed the Magic. Their defense was elite, and then we made it even easier for them. And one thing that I got to give them props to is that since they're so like lengthy as a team, when it comes to getting picked by Mitch or anyone, they don't try to fight through the pick or move back to their defender. They are tall enough that they just stick with the guy that they're there. Like they're fine getting picked. You saw them just quickly switch and guard that guy that they now have to guard, and they did it in excellence. So shout out to them. But unfortunate for us because we also let them score at will, which was insane. Like it took us so long, and yet the Wagner would be able to grab the ball, one pass and then drive it straight down. And it was easy for him. So trailing by 20 at the half. And I know that's not impossible to come back from that, but that is also pathetic, like at the Garden, to allow that to happen. So what are your thoughts? Like when you go into a game like that, I know, Mike Brown says there's no excuse, but how do you as a team go into halftime down 20 and still not change up what you're doing when you come back out? That wasn't working.
I mean, it's like I said, you have to credit Orlando. Like they did their job. They, like someone in the chat said, Prezi said, good job by Coach Mosley.
Yeah.
You're supposed to study your opponent, and like you said, you can't just blame it on tired legs. That could be one aspect, but you guys completely went against what worked as soon as you were tested. And that's kind of what I guess the point I was trying to allude to earlier is you can't get tested on something that works and break immediately. Now I'm looking at it. Okay, well, do you guys really understand the system, or was that just a good run? You know what I mean? Like now I really want to know what's really going on, because if you're tested by a team that's, let's be real, like they're a really good team, they're a really good defensive team. But that's a team that you really have enough talent to withstand a lot of that defensive intensity from. So I mean, like I said, it was frustrating to me that they allowed them to come into the Garden and test what they've been doing, and they just went away from it completely. So that's it's very frustrating to see.
And you say you don't know if it was like, did they really get it, click with it? Or was it, just something where you saw in flash and, But Jalen, in an interview yesterday, he said, as a team, we work on them. And in the offseason, that's what I worked on, relocating. The talk of the talk was me playing off ball. So why don't I just work on that? So that was a lot of the stuff I did this summer. And yeah, balls going in when I do it. So he talked about that was what the system called for. That's what he was asked to do, was to now be more off ball. And so that's what he put his practice time into. And he was seeing the results from it. So if you're seeing the results from it, why stray from it? Like, that's the question that I'm just like, I don't understand how that happens.
So JL has said that he has a good point. He said usually switching defenses invites more ISO. And that's if I'm a team that, like Jamal Mosley, if I'm a team that coaches and I know I'm going into a game with guys that have been playing well with the ball moving, let's switch. Let's make them play ISO. Because let's be honest, the only one we're worried about is Jalen. And what happened? He was the only one that did anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And OG didn't take a shot inside the 3-point line. It was 2 for 4.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's literally one guy that you put the ball in his hands and he's like, I don't care who's in front of me. And that you saw that last night because of the way they played their defense.
Yeah. And the next thing we need to look at is something that's typically a strength of ours showed the height deficiency that we had yesterday. And that was the rebounds. They out-rebounded us 49 rebounds to 37. They had 12 more rebounds than we did. So they were able to get second chance opportunities if they needed them. And they were also able to stop us from getting second chance opportunities. So where do you think that we lacked there? Like, who wasn't pulling their weight? Is there, actual concern, when we play teams like this or OKC or any of the teams that, don't really suffer when it comes to, height? And I can say that because I'm only 5'5". Like anyone that's got, the length on us, are we going to struggle with this? Like, because I know when we're playing smaller teams, we're like, oh, we always get the rebounds. We're the, rebound kings. Josh Hart, small guard, rebounding capability of a big man. But then when big men come in, we're down 12 rebounds to them. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, we were out rebounded by 12, and I'm looking at it now. Wendell Carter Jr. is the only center with more than 5 rebounds. And that means everybody's rebounding. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter the height. That's effort to me. You know what I mean? That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the effort because Josh Hart is one of those guys. It doesn't matter who he's out there with, but look he had 3 rebounds last night. So it's effort. Josh Hart is better than 3 rebounds in the game.
Yeah,
in 18 minutes. So there's no excuse for being out. We were out rebounded by 12 points. I mean, by 12 rebounds.
Yeah.
And that's just unacceptable. It's you're not going to win games like that.
Yeah, I agree. And it's crazy because like there's certain players that you expect to see certain things from by this time. And Yabu's one of them. And you started seeing little glimpses of him hitting some shots last night, getting some rebounds. But when do we start testing other waters with other players? Like I know Mike Brown has talked about, Huck Porty, not breaking into it yet, that he needs to be able to show that he deserves for him to extend the rotation. But how many losses until we start exploring, other players that are on our bench? Like I know they don't have the experience, but guys like Diawara do have the height, so in games where our experience isn't helping us stay in the game and it looks like our height is destroying us, is that when we start looking at the opportunity to, bring some of these guys in? Because yesterday, we know we haven't seen Yabu play well, but he came in yesterday and at least, went 2 for 3 in the 5 minutes that he had, so maybe there's something that's going to start clicking there. But it just seemed like we hit a wall yesterday, and I don't think it was a Mike Brown wall. I think it was a player wall. I don't think that we stuck to the system. And I think that's what we saw and why we took such a big L. What do you think? I know we both talked about this and we laughed. Was there a standout performance from that game? And we were like, can you even really call that? Um, but let's talk about the one guy that you and I could agree on, which was Jalen Brunson. And that's kind of by default of the fact that we didn't have a great game at all. But he had 31 points, which is good. He had 3 rebounds, so he helped there. No steals. Okay. 6 assists, not bad. 0 blocks. Here's the hard part is 43% shooting and 25% from 3. Like, that's rough numbers. That's rough Jalen Brunson numbers, you know? And so what were your thoughts on his game? Why do you think he resulted back to so much ISO? And what were the things that, like, he did well?
Well, I mean, you can't stop a superhero from putting the cape on. You know what I mean? That's just when you got a superstar, they're gonna put the cape on.
Yeah.
At some point, if no one else is if no one else is stepping up, listen, bro. Like, all right, move. Just give me the ball. Because what are you guys doing? So I halfway understand, but a lot of times, you know, they just work. He wasn't going the game. He wasn't going with the game plan a lot of time. You know, a lot of the game. But you gotta go get yours, man. Like, and I don't even think it was selfish. I think he was really trying to will them into the game because there was some plays he would get in there, do a couple plays, and just it looked selfish. And then he'll have a couple plays where he's trying to dish out to somebody, and then they just not doing it. Like I said, OG didn't even take a shot inside the 3-point line.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want him to do, man? Like, it's and he still had to go out there and drop 30 and nobody else could get a bucket. And everybody knew where the ball was going. So credit to Jalen for that. You know what I mean? I'm glad we have a guy that can keep us in the game and put the book bag on. And when nobody else is really doing anything, Cat's in foul trouble. You know, and even Jalen got in foul trouble and he still puts up 31 points. So I mean, it was frustrating to see that nobody else really wanted to help him. And Deuce tried, and he had 3 crucial turnovers. The thing about Deuce's turnovers that bothered me, I'm sorry,
No, good. Keep going. I don't care.
The one thing about the Deuce turnovers that bothered me was the timing of his turnovers. Usually the turnovers is, you know, that's just part of the game. You know, you might mess up on things. It's just the timing of it. There were momentum killing turnovers each time. 1, 2, 3, each one of them. So it was just one of those games where it just didn't seem like anybody was even mentally in it. Like, the Magic played great defensively. Cool. Like, you know what I mean? You expected them to do that. But there was still something that just wasn't right with the Knicks. They weren't doing what they normally have been doing, especially in this run. I mean, I can't just credit it to tired legs, man. Like, it's something was just off. Maybe the guys thought, like somebody said, it was a trap game. They thought they were going to just come in and win. So and then especially when Paolo went out, they probably were like, well, listen, we good now. Like, no, like you still gotta go hard. These guys still played up into, you know, to me, I'm gonna be honest with you. I almost said I want Paolo to come back. Maybe he'll mess up this momentum that they got.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? So they were really still keeping their foot on our necks last night. So I can't say nothing about that.
Yeah, I agree, man. It was definitely one of those rough things to watch. Before we continue, I'm getting ready to bring up one of my guests. You guys know that, you know, aside from creating this content, I create whiskey content. And early in the game, it was crazy for me because I honestly have done photo, video, I've done this, and it's been kind of easy, you know, to kind of find my footing and kind of get into it. And then the whiskey thing was harder for me. Like, it just was. Like, I knew what I liked, I knew how to create dope content, but I couldn't figure out how this whiskey content game worked. First, I felt like most people that I had seen at first, very different lifestyles than me, you know, like very different. Like, beats and rhymes, boom bap, hip hop, fully covered in tattoos, like love urban culture. And a lot of people are like, Friday night football with some Tennessee whiskey. You know, I'm like, I don't even watch football anymore because my Jets suck. Like, I don't feel like I fit here. And then I met one guy. I came across his profile and I was like, yo, I feel like this is the one person on my timeline that speaks my same language. Like, this is crazy. There's no way this guy's from like the Bible Belt. There's no way. Where's this guy from? So, like, I looked it up and he's from New York, had a Knicks cap on. And I was like, all right. So I started building with him, hit him up the first time that I was up there when I started, while I was creating content. Him and I went to a bar and we kind of just hung out for hours talking Knicks, hip hop, and whiskey. And watching his career blow up has been so awesome. Like, not only is he been like killing it in the whiskey content game, but he also writes for Up Rocks now. And I'm watching him like talking whiskey and hip hop with some of like the most current trending hip hop and R&B artists. And I'm like, yo, that guy is freaking killing it. And which is why when I text him, I'm a year older by the time I hear from him now. So it's like I text him on this day and then he texts me back when I'm a year older. But he was kind enough to hop on this episode. So I'm going to bring up my guy, Frank, Mr. Burb Your Enthusiasm himself. And we'll talk a little Knicks real quick before I bring up another guest that I'm extremely ecstatic about. This is like, for me, this is my episode. Like, if no one likes it, I don't really care because I'm on cloud 9 tonight. So it doesn't even matter who watches, who doesn't. So without further ado, my guy, Frank.
Yeah. Thank you for the intro, man. What's going on, Apollo, Phil? How y'all feeling?
Peace,
good,
man.
bro. How are you?
I'm good. I actually just got back in. So I'm ready to talk about the Knicks. I'm ready to talk about bourbon. I'm ready to talk about, whatever y'all want to do. Oh, and by the way, I got a shout out. So first of all, I got on my favorite t-shirt, 1994 NBA World Champ Knicks. For those of y'all that live in an alternate universe, this is a real t-shirt.
That's fire. That's fire. That's fire.
Did you get that from like one of those kids overseas that
Yo,
you
I stole this from Liberia, so I brought it back to America, and now we celebrating right.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I think the Knicks have like multiple like shirts like that from the 90s that it was just like shipped overseas. Like, hey, feed a whole bunch of people with these shirts. So what's up, man? This is my guy Apollo. He's diehard Knick fan as well, and it's been cool because on this show we've actually, when we first started, he wasn't even a whiskey drinker. Like, he wasn't into the craft. And so if you go back to the start of the season to now, it's been cool because you kind of see his whiskey progression as he's learned how to look for notes and stuff like that. It's been cool to like be able to watch and him be able to like connect with different brands and start to figure out what he really enjoys himself. So for me, this episode's dope because he's seen me fanboy over Rare Character as much as I fanboy over the Knicks for the last 2 years. So it's really cool to have this episode with you guys. But what are your thoughts so far? As a Knicks fan, what are you seeing? Because we went from great games where it looked like we adjusted to this new system to then games like last night where it was atrocious and we reverted back to other things.
Yeah, for me, I think it's part of the learning curve, right? Like, I went to opening night, so I saw what we were looking like live on the very first game of the season. The offense looked good, and then we had that 5-game winning streak. We were protecting the home court, so I liked everything that I was seeing to start the season. I just feel like, against the Magic, we kind of had a hiccup, but I feel like that kind of happens. We came out a little stale. I think that was the second night of a back-to-back. So the first quarter, we came out a little stale. That's to be expected. But overall, I like what I'm seeing. I like the new offense. I like the roster a lot. I feel like JB, because he doesn't have to do as much as he did last year, has an opportunity to take a little bit of a step forward. Yep. I like to see more from Cat. I'd like to see a little bit more from, the supporting guys. But OG and Mikhail are doing well so far. Josh Hart, I want to see you step up a little bit more too. But, we'll come around. I like what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm thankful for you because, sometimes we put out content and Knicks Twitter has their own little world. Like Knicks Twitter is like whiskey TikTok or whiskey Instagram. It's all Twitter. And it's funny because like there's one guy, I actually had to mute him. the other day because he's like such a diehard like cat fanatic. It's like swim fanish. And so he went on and we stopped replying to him and we all went to bed. We woke up the next morning and he had been going on for 3 hours tweeting us, talking about like us being cat haters because we don't realize how perfect his game is and how, we need to celebrate the all-star that we have. And I'm like, yo, bro, all I said was that like he showed glimpses of being a better player and that he needs to do that every game instead of once every 4 games. And I was like, that's called basketball critique. And he's like, no, you hate him. You're a hater. Like, you don't deserve a show. And I'm like, yo, bro, why you follow me then? This doesn't make any sense. So when someone who's not on Knicks Twitter that's just a diehard Knick fan can come on and be like, I want to see more. That doesn't mean we hate Cat. That means we actually like Cat and we believe he has more. Like I'm not gonna go, yo, I really wish like Mario Hezonja, was giving me all-star numbers. Why? Because Mario Hezonja wasn't gonna give me all-star numbers. Like that's called delusion, But if I see the player has that capability, I'm calling them to more, and so that's what I love having you come on the show and kind of just talk. But for those that are watching you, give them a little like background of like what you're doing right now, because you're kind of merging 2 worlds, which is what I'm trying to do here. Is you don't necessarily think craft whiskey when you think NBA. Like it's very rare, like it's more so when you even look at the content creators, when I'm looking for people to bring onto these episodes, they're like, well, I'm a college football fan or I'm a football fan. And I'm like, well, that doesn't help my NBA show, so it's rare. And if they're drinking whiskey, it's Captain and Coke, and that's how they're watching the game. So I'm trying to bring craft whiskey to the NBA, which is something that you're starting to do over this last year or so with Uprocks. So let people know like what's going on in your world.
Yeah, man. No, I appreciate you teeing it up in that way. So for those that don't know, I'm the head whiskey writer over at Uprocks. Obviously a big time Knicks fan. I love culture. I love fashion, the whole nine. And at Uprocks, we're kind of uniquely positioned because we are taking the lead, I think, in terms of all of these, men's kind of journals and magazines. Look, we focus on music, we focus on movies, but we also have a very strong spirits division. And I'm kind of the guy who's heading that up and really leading the charge on the whiskey over there. So for the past couple of months, I've been doing a show with Remy Martin where I bring on a lot of dope artists and interview them. We talk about cocktails, we talk about cognac, we talk about their careers. So I've had, Corday, Benny the Butcher, Boldy James, just some really top level artists come in and talk about cocktails. And I feel like merging cultures is really what a lot of people are trying to do right now, because you see it all the time. There's celebrities that have whiskey brands, tequila brands, the whole nine. Everybody's trying to get into the spirits game. And it's because when you're out at these events, when you're going to go see a concert or going to go see a game, you want to have a little something in your cup. You don't have to. The games are going to be good if the Knicks are playing like they are this season. But, in addition to that, you want to have something that's going to make you elevate the experience a little bit. And that's what I'm trying to do over at Uprocks. I'm trying to marry sports culture, music culture, and good drinks, and make sure that people can enjoy all of those things on the same accord at the same time.
I love it. I love it. And one drink that you've had, impact on and relationship with is the brand that we are highlighting tonight. And that is Rare Character. And like I said, if you follow the show, I'm a Rare Character fan. And the main bottle we're going to be talking about today is a coveted bottle by many in the whiskey industry. And I'm still fangirling myself that this is in my hand, this Old Cassidy right here. And it's crazy because I've seen this brand blow up, like develop and blow up, because I remember the first time that I tasted them, Joel, Life of Lux, came to town. Him and I were hanging out. He was like, yo, I think you're going to like some of this stuff I have in my suitcase. He had this like Teflon Don looking like whiskey case that he opens up with just samples on samples on samples. And he's like, these are my guys, Peter and Pablo's brand Rare Character. Like, these are different variations. Try them out. And at the end of the day, I was fangirling. And he was like, we're going to release our first one here in Florida. Like, I'll let you know when it drops so that you grab it. And it's kind of been like Pokemon Go for my kids. Like every time there's one out, I got to catch them. I got to catch them all. And it's become ridiculous. And so tonight, I'm actually doing my little Age Denor flight night as we go through the night. And I'm going to be enjoying and ending on the Old Cassidy, but I'm going to do a little Florida run since that's where I got introduced to them. I'm going to go through the gauntlet of Florida whiskey, starting with my guy, Tommy, the Candyman. All right. With this pick right here, this is a K13. Then I'm going to go and take a little trip to my guy, Whiskey Willie's. All right. And we're going to have that right there. And then the best TKO that's been released, I have to give it to Lakeland. All right. Grapevine right here with this delicious TKO. And that's hard for me to say because TKOs are ridiculous. So I'm going to go through a little flight. But before I do, I want to bring up one half of the tag team. All right. This right here. All right. I'm like an old WWF. Don't call it WWE because that's when it became garbage. I'm a WWF head. All right. So this is like Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels kind of thing. All right. He is one half of that. He is one half of the Legion of Doom of whiskey. All right. So without further ado, rare character himself, Mr. Pete, come on up and let's hang. What up, bro? How you doing?
What's going on?
Chilling, man. Can't complain. I love that Brooksville sweater.
Frank on this. He's got the New York coming out. I don't hear that when he's talking to the whiskey guys as much.
I'm at home now, baby.
Yeah. I like it. I like this look for you.
No judgment. No judgment. This is how I met him, so it makes me happy. All right, so I'm gonna show this real quick. I don't usually take my camera off, but I want to show you and everybody when I say that I'm a rare character fan. All right, me and my family, we now live in a 40-foot trailer, and we travel full time. And within my 40-foot trailer, which is less than 300 square feet, I have very limited space. So besides those 4 bottles, though, that I have that I showed you, this right here is
nice. There it is.
Some of my rare character.
Nice.
Besides what's in the loft up there. So I travel in a 270 square foot home with about 30 bottles of rare character. So I'm a fan of you guys. Love what you guys are doing.
Ratio sounds good.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Anytime I bring a new colored top in, I get the look from my wife, and she's very, very pleased. She loves it.
That's got to be the new judge. It's not about how many bottles you have. It's what percentage of your house is dedicated to rare character bottles. You know what I mean? It's a percentage game.
Facts. I'm actually cut that and put it in the RC clubhouse tomorrow. And put a little wager and see if I can win any whiskey from anybody in there. So I'm looking forward to it. All right. So let's give a little rundown, Pete. Like, I know, you're one half of this duo, but similar to, the Knicks, you guys kind of had a different way of doing things. You kind of sparked a new way to kind of put out whiskey and get the crowd buzzing. So what was the whole thought behind rare character, and how can you explain like the phenomenon that has come about? Because seriously, in some of those Facebook groups, it is just crazy to see some people's collections. Like, it's actually scary, even for me. So what do you, so give us a little rundown background of you guys.
No doubt. Well, first of all, it's good to be here with you guys. Good to see you. Yeah, man, it's interesting. It's kind of timely. We were doing like a conversation, doing an interview. Pablo and I were both in it, which is rare. So it was kind of fun to tell the story there. How it got started, I got to know Pablo. He's from Queens. I'm from New Jersey, right? So 2 random dudes from the Northeast selling a bunch of whiskey, which is interesting unto itself, right?
Yeah.
But I got to know him. I have a cachaça brand called Avua. If you don't know, it's a Brazilian sugarcane spirit. Delicious, been made for 500 years. And I was basically traveling the country, sleeping on couches, convincing people that this shit is delicious, right? And one of those people was Pablo. And he came from a philosophy that it wasn't a good spirit. Because if you have a bad one, it's not good. Think about having like a really tequila, right? So I had to bribe them to taste with me by sneaking some bottles in from Brazil. That was the reco from the rep, right? They're all very scared of him because the dude knew more than them about every product. Hilarious, right? So I get his attention. He loves the product. I start selling it. We become friends. That's like 2014 that happens. And then just love spirits, right? And so 2020 rolls around. His restaurant shut down. My business, which is predominantly bar, restaurant, whatever, dead. And this conversation came up about independent bottling like it's done by many amazing producers in Europe, but here, right? And that was relationships from him, like he's deep with all the guys that make great shit that you guys love and I love too, right? And then we go we'd have 5 different conversations 6 months in. Heads are nodding, master distillers are into it. Somebody in Europe's like, "No, we're not doing that." Right? No, we're not doing that. So then it became like, hey, let's put out the best whiskey we can find, dig under the crevices, find unique shit, and put it in a unique label. Right. So that's where the single barrel series came from. And Pablo will say, he would go present bottles at the table and they'd be a brand very well, right? At the restaurant. And somebody'd be like, dude, that looks like the shit I bought at Total Wine. What do you mean? They're like, oh, no, look, my name's right here, right? So we're like, oh, this is you, it's yours. You know what I mean? So that started that, and that kind of went insane. And then obviously we brought back some brands like Brook Hill, which is the shit. We released Old Cassidy, which I don't still have the bottle. I get it tomorrow because Pablo drank them all, right? Yes. See that? I'm like, damn. I'm like, Chad, I need mine. He's like, well, you're sending it to these guys. I'm like, all right. Anyway.
Shout out to Chad.
There you go. So anyway, Ben, it's like we just do a lot of interesting things, right? And we get the luxury because people are so stoked on it, which is amazing. Thank you. We could take risks. We could put out shit that on paper makes no sense, like a TKO, right? You see that? If you're looking at a barrel list, that's probably last on your list of things that make sense. But you try it, man, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of been a part of it. And then I'll add one other nugget, which came up in this interview. Pablo, I think for the first time, an analogy to an avocado was connected to whiskey, right? It has to be a first. But he's sitting there talking about, you get an avocado and you get it, and maybe it's good in 3 days, but it's not good right now. Or maybe it's already past good, or maybe it's going to take a month or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of the discipline of being like, it's not ready and we'll wait.
Yeah.
And that is financially not the best part, but it makes it that much doper when you're drinking it.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. And, one thing I love is everything tastes so uniquely different from the labels that you guys are putting out. But you can tell the people that are behind it. Like, you guys share an understanding of good flavors, so it's like even some things that I would be like, oh, those tasting notes don't sound like they're my palate. From another brand, I can pass it up, and just be like, it doesn't sound like I'm going to rock with it, but chances are, even though those aren't things that I normally gravitate to, I can try it in a rare character bottle and be like, I don't know how this makes sense, but I want this bottle and the next one that they come out with, so it's been really cool to just see that kind of happen and see the brand grow and you guys continue to build. And so while we, talk a little, basketball, I don't think you're a basketball head, right? You're not a basketball head, are you?
Really? I'll watch the playoffs here or there. So you guys talk it, I'll just absorb it.
Yeah.
I did see a disappointing score for the Knicks that popped up on my feed. What was it, yesterday or this morning or whatever? But other than that, I'll let you guys do what you do here.
It was disappointing, but yeah, what we'll do is we'll grab a little sip. We'll talk about that. Then we'll bring it back to intertwining it with rare character.
You know what's funny to me is that it feels like every time a casual fan comes up to you, they saw the last game that the Knicks lost, and they're like, "Man, the Knicks suck this year." I'm like, it's always the game we lose. Always.
Never see him during the winning streak. No,
exactly.
Like seriously, if this was last week, there's no way Pete would have been like, "Yeah, I saw you guys spank the Nets the other day." Like that never would have happened. Ever. He never would have given us our flowers.
I gotta say, I got a little bit of soft spot for the Nets because I grew up in New Jersey, right?
Yeah, got to.
And then I lived in Brooklyn for some time, but you know, it doesn't go deep, right? I'm here to support.
I wouldn't hate them so much if they stayed in Jersey. That's where they belong.
Fair enough.
You know, they're not a New York team. You know, they never will be. But it is what it is. You know, we'll forget you said that, and we'll keep thinking that you're, you know, a genius because of your whiskey. Oh, all right. So, what are your thoughts, Frank? Like, what do you think of Mike Brown's new system? As someone that's been watching the game, you know, I know you're busy, so I don't know if you're catching them all. Like someone texted me and they were like, "Oh yeah, your boy Frank was at opening game too," and I'm like, "Bro can't text me back, but he can hang out front row probably at opening game." All right, I see you. It makes sense. I would do the same thing. But anyway, so what are your thoughts on the system, and who do you think is the X factor to make sure that the Knicks can actually be title contenders this year?
Ooh, you know, I'm gonna go in reverse because I think the X factor to kind of shout out your boy who was mad at you the other night, I think it's Cat. I think that the Knicks in the playoffs can go as far as the big bodega goes, because if your second best player looks like a guy who can take over the game and can get you 20 plus, maybe 30 plus on those nights when he really needs to, then you're in a good position. You know, I think OG is going to have stretches where he's looking like a really strong third banana. Same thing with Mikal. You know, the bench is obviously very important. I want to see what Deuce does now when he has a chance to step up, because Jalen Brunson is taking a step back due to the injury. But I do think that Cat is going to be the X factor. If he looks good in the playoffs specifically, I think he can have a good 82 and we can have a strong regular season team almost no matter what. We look really good right now because of the offense, which I'll get to next. But I think Cat is the X factor. As far as the offense, I mean, if you're a Knicks fan, this is what you wanted last year, right? The last couple of years, looking at these Tom Thibodeau teams where guys are getting, 48 minutes a night, and you're like, don't we have a bench? You know, you're waiting for those guys to get an opportunity to play. Now you see more of a democratized offense. You see guys moving the ball, passing it. I saw a stat that we were top 5 in the league in passes. Yep. At one point, we were top 5 in the league at offense motion, like miles ran on offense. So guys are moving. The ball is moving. When we play like that, I love what I see. So I think the new offense is definitely what Knicks fans have wanted to see, and the success speaks for itself. So I'm happy about it.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that, Apollo? I'll let you go.
I mean, that's one point that he said. He was talking about Cat is if Cat as the X factor is going crazy, you know what I mean? That just makes Jalen that much more deadly. You know what I mean? Because you can't focus on Jalen when you got Cat over there doing what he's doing. So as far as the X factor, he has to step up. He has to be there. And, like you said earlier, like we're not picking on Cat. We just know how great he can be. You know what I mean? And we expect him to be that, because that he's in New York now, and this is the opportunity. This is the window. So you can't falter in that field.
Yeah. And I agree completely about, Cat being the X factor. Not necessarily that he has to be the best player on the court, but he has to be able to hold his own like he did, these last few games where we started to give him his praise for being a dominant finesse player. Like he can't pick one or the other. You can't be dominant in some games, bullying around, but missing and forcing shots. You can't be finessing where you're getting the easy bucket, but you're not putting any pressure in the paint to actually make everyone else's job easier. That's the whole Mike Brown system, is to create, draw the defense, and then spray it out. Well, you can't spray it out if no one's intimidated by you to go into the paint. Like, it's pointless. No one is going to, see that you have any value if they don't think that you're going to do anything in the paint. And you can't only do it on the SARs of the league, you know, the younger guys that are 1 or 2 years into the league. You have to be able to, even if you get pushed back, you have to be able to at least show that you're willing to go blow for blow with these guys, like he did with Gobert. You know, that was impressive. You know, when he went against Gobert and he said, hey, you could be defensive, whatever, a few years ago, but I'm still going to hold my own and I'm going to dominate. That's what we need. Because then when he throws the little finesse hook shot or he does a little, you know, jumper or hits the three, then it's an all around cat that, like you said, makes everybody's life.
He's in the Matrix. He'll be back.
I was like,
He'll be back.
Did
there
I
he
lose?
is. He's back.
You're back. You're back.
I went into like the Spider-Verse for a second, like the Matrix.
That was Nick's Twitter. They were trying to shut you up.
They were. That was that cat guy. Like, what? You think cat's not perfect? Like, internet hack. But you know, anyway, everybody's life is so much easier when cat is dominant. Everybody's game, like when he's playing all levels of what his skill sets are, then it makes it easier for Jalen, makes it easier for OG, makes it easier for Mikhail. Those guys can put up great numbers so that Cat and JB don't have to play Superman at the end of the game. All they have to do is actually be able to rely on Cat doing that. And then Jalen's like ISO game can be that much stronger when he has to ISO because they're afraid of Cat. But when you have games where it doesn't look like Cat's going to be aggressive, the defense lays off of him because they're going to let him take that, you know, shot from the three. They'll guard him there, but no one's going to double team him out there. So I love that. I love that, you know, he is your X factor because I really do believe he is the way we get a chip. Like he's what we went all in for, you know, like he's what we traded to build this team to be. And so I love that answer. And I too believe in this Mike Brown offense, you know, like I love watching the ball move. Like you look at all my favorite like basketball teams throughout the year, the ball was moving. Like even when you look at like, yes, Jordan was the most dominant scorer, but he was always a pass first kind of guy when he got on the court. And then it would get back to him, you know, like the ball will get back to your great players. So Jalen Brunson doesn't need to have the ball in his hand to be great. The ball's going to find him because he's great. The ball's going to find Cat because they're great. It all just kind of works itself out. So before we go to the next Knicks point, I want to talk about you two. How did this relationship form? Because it went from, you know, just whiskey guys, you know, like to actually collaborating and Frank kind of having, you know, his hand in some pretty big things with Rare Character.
I can speak to that. So with Old Cassidy, you know, I was just very fortunate. I developed a relationship with Pete and also with Pablo, and I had never done a single barrel under my own name up to that point. And I told Pablo that I really just wanted to do something with Rare Character. I'm a big fan of what he and Pete are doing. I love all the whiskey. I'm like yourself. I got so many bottles at home. It's getting, you know, kind of shameful when people come over. They're like, I thought you're supposed to be a whiskey critic and you drink everything, but all I see is Rare Character. But that's neither here nor there. Anyway, so we started off our relationship by me saying I wanted to do a single barrel. You know, Pablo was gracious enough to let me do the first single barrel of Old Cassidy. And, you know, I was just very blessed to have an opportunity to select an Old Cassidy under the Rare Character lineup. And now they're coming out with a blend, which I didn't blend. I didn't have any hand in that. I didn't have any part of that. But, you know, it just looks so good. I love the label. I love the top. You know, you can actually open it without having to cut a finger off.
Pablo paid you to say that, bro.
Let's talk about that.
Pablo paid you to say that. You did. I know.
I like all 10 of my fingers. You know, I'm a writer, so I gotta keep my hands close. But no, so I was just very fortunate, honestly. It was one of those deals where you build a relationship, right place, right time. You know, I'm just happy to hitch my wagon to these guys because they're crushing it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. You want to throw anything in there, Pete?
Yeah, I'll echo the same. I mean, we had the concept of Old Cassidy and Frank's doing dope stuff. And we were like, maybe this is where we put it, right? Which is kind of like what we do. We're like, oh, there's this thing. We found this whiskey. Here's our boy. There it is. You know, and we're like, oh, that's cool. And then people apparently liked it. They spent a lot of money on that shit, you know, and still are. And And yeah, the legacy of Frank continues, and it'll be an annual release. You know, the base of that is 18-year Kentucky bourbon. I'm sure it's delicious. I don't know because I won't.
It is.
It is. I don't know right now. Anyway, I know, but I don't know. Yeah, we're excited to put it out there, man. You know, like it's kind of a different piece of the RC puzzle. You know, Brook Hill being only single barrels, this being a blend at the high level, right? RCLR, the limited release series, you have a bunch of those. We think they're great. You know, those are blends, but those are like grab them and drink them. You know what I mean? So that's it to add to that. But yeah, that's why I was like, hey, Frank, we got to get you some bottles. We got to keep the magic going. You know, you were part of the beginning of it. And the legacy continues, you know?
Yeah, I love it because I kind of watched it from a distance, you know, like the relationships start to form and, you know, you guys announced that you guys were going to release it and I wasn't able to get my hands on it and I couldn't justify the $600 instant resale price I was seeing everywhere. I was just like, goodness gracious.
Price now, by the way, what's the latest on that one?
It went to Sotheby's. I think the gavel was 2,600.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good
I got one right here.
You can open it and drink it right now if you want.
Good, but you know,
but $2,600.
This is part of the beautiful bar right now. It's you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna find the one that I have for Pablo. I'm gonna open that one. You know?
So I was lucky enough. My guy Tony Adams from A Steady Pour.
Oh, Tony Adams. Yes.
Yep. He made sure that he sent me a sample of that one. And so when he knew that you were going to be on this episode and that I had this bottle in hand, he goes, sample? And I said, yes. It's already coming, bro. I got you on lock. It's already in the mail. I got you.
Yeah, it went to good hands.
Yeah. So I sent it straight to him this morning. He'll be on the show next week. But I loved watching that relationship and I loved watching, you know, like just two hard workers within the industry, you know, like Frank had been putting out content nonstop. Like that's my one hiccup is like with my kids and this show and everything else, like everyone's like, you got to post daily. I'm like, I don't know how any of y'all do that. Like, I just can't, like, it's never going to happen. And at that time, Frank was just putting out like, not just like, hey, here's a photo from my iPhone that some people do and have 40,000 followers for some reason. But Frank was actually like putting out reviews. He was sitting down talking like once a week with somebody from the industry that for some reason they like Frank and they're going to talk to him. And this was before he was like Frank. And I was like, man, this is crazy. This guy's got like in with everybody. So to see you guys put that out was awesome. And keeping the old Cassidy tradition. And I believe Chad blended this one, right? This is a Chad blend.
You know, it's never clear who did the blend, right?
All right.
There's a lot of credit. There's a lot of love for everybody who's a part of the blend.
All right. Well, shout out to the blenders or the blenders, whoever you are. And I'll say this on air too. This right here, you see this sharp, lovely thing?
Look at that.
See why there's so many like rubber marks on there or like glue marks? That's from opening rare character bottles. All right. So this sharp knife, I seriously sharpen it just to open up the bottles. And it's like, I know that if I don't lose a limb, I'm going to enjoy it, but it's a risk that I have to take every time.
There you go. Look, we actually did a survey and the people spoke. And they want the wax, man. I got to give the people what they want. You know what I mean?
It's hard not to because it looks so freaking cool.
It looks so good. Fashion hurts, man.
I'll be honest.
Fashion hurts.
I was okay to walk away from the wax until you guys put out the TKO. And I was just like, that just looks so good. Like it looks like bubblegum is keeping my whiskey together. Like it's insane. And if y'all don't know, this is the TKO with that fire pink right there. It looks like bubblegum just dripping on the side of your whiskey. It's so dope. All right. So
hold on before you go back to Knicks. One side. I just got to give you the last time I saw Tony Adams. We were doing we had a bottle share in my hotel room, and he might have overindulged a little bit, and we might have had to put him on like the belt, the luggage cart, out of the hotel room. So there's a video somewhere.
Damn.
Somebody's got it. Tony just kind of getting wheeled out of the luggage cart.
Okay, I need you to do me a favor because he's probably not watching this right now because he's at work. So if you can find me that video, I would love to play it on next week's episode where he is the guest.
We gotta get it.
I would love to intro him to that clip. It would be amazing.
That's incredible.
Let's make it happen.
All right. So, Frank, this is something I started doing recently just to have a little fun. We've done 3 weeks of it, and it's called Nictionary.
I knew where you were going. I'm already ready. You don't even have to cue it up.
So I'm going to put this image up, and you and Apollo, because it's not a Nets player, you guys guess which Nick this is. All right. This one's a little harder than last time.
Okay. We got a power button. We got Dr. Dre. It might be the Chronic. It looks like a bar. Nicolas Cage and Gone in 60 Seconds. And then a knee. Huh. Okay. Yeah, you're right. This is tougher.
What the heck is going on here?
Okay, I'm gonna.
The color in the first one helps.
Okay, green.
So you said what it is, and then the color green on that helps.
Nah.
Oh, hold on. I think I'm getting a little closer.
While you do that, I'm gonna have a little TKO while I wait.
You know, I want to take a crazy guess, but I don't want to mess up the fun, so I'm gonna keep it to myself.
Do it.
I feel like
I got it. Wait,
Andre Bargnani?
Yeah. That's there you go.
We got we got Dre, Bar. What's missing from the title? Gone. Knee. Andre Bargnani.
I see.
That was a fun one.
You called me there. I was like, is it Andre? I don't know, but that was good. It was
a waste of a contract. And also I did it to support my guy Lee. Because last week when it was Anthony Mason, he was joking around and he said Andre Bargnani in the chat just to, joke around. So I thought, why not actually do a Bargnani one and have a little fun with it? So that's good times. Appreciate it.
I feel like you got to keep digging in the crates. I want to see what you come up with for Pablo Prigioni.
Oh, all right.
That's my next challenge.
All right. Oh, that one's easy. All right. I got you. All right. I know exactly what I'm going to do for that one.
Look at that.
It's kind of weird that my mind works that way. All of a sudden I have vector images in my mind of what I'm doing. So anyway, all right. So let's talk next topic. All right. Before we go back into whiskey, and we're going to talk about this Old Cassidy that Frank and I are going to be able to enjoy, and Pete is not, and Apollo will be able to enjoy it in a few days because I got it and sent the sample to him. It doesn't get there till another 2 days. But what I want to talk about is what we're going to do now that Jalen Brunson is injured. So yesterday, your heart kind of sinks when you see the play and what happened. But then it sinks even more when Ian Begley comes on and says that he saw Jalen Brunson leaving in a boot and crutches. Luckily, there was a post by Shams that said that it is a grade 1 ankle sprain. But we know what happens when star players try to rush back. And we've seen it before, and that it causes more issues than is worth having them come back for in the first place. So, Apollo, what is your thoughts on Jalen Brunson coming back? For me, I want to rest him until he's 100. But our next game is against the Heat, which is always a pain in the butt, and we lost to them last time. But Bam is out and Hero are out. So that kind of helps with Jalen being out. And then the next few games aren't really that important. We don't have another good game until the 28th when we play against the Bucks. So even if he's ready to come back, what are your thoughts?
Miami game was the first game this season that disappointed me. So I would like to see us go in there and take care of business, whether Bam is there or not. I think I heard that Hero is going to try to come back for the second game. I'm not sure if it's the tomorrow's game. But I think that this is when the system is tested. You can't just give it to Jalen and make it and make something happen now. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are gonna have to figure it out. And this is kind of what happened last year when Jalen was out. I believe it was an ankle as well.
Yep, it was.
Yeah,
same ankle.
Same ankle, same thing. So and the guys, it took them a second, but they started to get it. And OG stood up. OG, I think that was when OG really took over, and OG was really going crazy at that time period. So this is what needs to happen. These guys need to figure out who they are when Jalen Brunson isn't there, so that when he's there, you don't have games like last night where he's the only one cooking. So that's just how I feel about that. Just you got to go into the crates and find some guys who are ready. Jalen's not there, so naturally the next guy up should be Tyler Kolek. So we'll see how that goes.
All right, Frank, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to resting a guy, I feel like this is the modern NBA, right? Like, everyone's moving around so fast. The sports science tells you that these guys should rest, they should recover. So I believe in that. And also, I think that it's early enough in the season that you do want to see what these guys can do. I want to see what the supporting cast can do with Jalen Brunson out, because you never know when they might have to step up, through the 82 or through the playoffs. So I want him to rest. I don't think he needs to sit out, a considerable amount of time. But I want to see what these guys have in this back-to-back against Miami. When we're talking about the Bucks game on the 28th, that's in about 2 weeks. I think he should be okay by then. I would like to see him give it a go when we come back against Milwaukee. But by all means, Jalen, get well soon. Take your time. Don't rush it, because that's the franchise player right there. So to your point, Phil, if he is out, for a short amount of time and tries to rush it and come back and we see more complications, there goes the season, there goes the championship window, there goes a lot. So I want him to rest. I want him to make sure that he's 100% before he comes back. And I think that this is the perfect time to see what we got on the bench and let him rest.
Yeah. And, this is one of those things where it's like, I understand where so many people were like, but who is our actual backup point guard? Because there's been so many question marks of who can actually do what needs to be done. Because when you take out Jalen, you have options. You got Miles McBride, you got Tyler Kolek. Miles McBride, a lot more confident when it comes to scoring, can't facilitate to save his life yet. Like, he just has not gotten that education here to be able to pull that off, or the skill sets, the dribbling skill sets. Then Tyler Kolek, he's got that basketball IQ, but he doesn't have that dog in him yet. Like, he doesn't know how to actually make things happen. So it does leave that question mark. But like my guy Lee in the chat said, it's time for Kolek. I really believe that this is where we ride and go with the Kolek hive, because at the end of the day, one, this is going to get Tyler a lot more prepared that if he is an integral part of this piece, that he's going to be ready for the season. He's going to be ready to actually play when we need him in the playoffs. It's these games that are going to develop him, these games that are going to make him that much better. So I believe we ride with Kolek, and in my opinion, we need to let Jalen sit. Like, as much as I love Jalen Brunson being part of this Knicks team, if he's in it for this part of the season, but he's not available in the playoffs, we've completely wasted our talent. We've completely thrown away what actually matters for the temporal that really doesn't. Because what does it matter if we get an extra win or two in the time that he's, back? But we risk the fact that he might not be here come April when we need him. That's when we're going to need him. That's when we're going to need full-on health. And so I think we just ride it out. We let it come. I, too, would like to see him come back for that Bucks game, because it's those teams that we've already taken an L against that I want to see now that the offense is starting to click a little more, to see how it actually looks against these better teams in the East. And because honestly, I would rather him be there against the teams in the East than the teams in the West, because those are the teams we have to beat to get to where we want to go. So I want to see him be able to come back and actually lead the team against these Eastern Conference teams to show where we really fare against the opposition. And I think the Bucks are one of those. We saw how dominant Giannis can be. We saw what's homeboy's name? Starts with an R.
Ryan.
Yeah. Like we saw Youngin like straight cook us.
Yep.
I want to see us come back and actually like show what we're actually worth, show who we actually are. So I hope he comes back for that right here.
And I think when it comes to the Bucks too, I feel an extra chip on my shoulder as a fan, wanting to see the Knicks succeed against the team, because we saw all the Giannis rumors in the offseason. So I feel like that's a game I really want to see Cat step up, do his thing. But also just as a team, I want us to show pride and say, okay, these are some guys that people might compare us to. There were some links in the offseason with trades. I would like to see pride kick in and really take it to them next time we play.
All right. So I could break it down in terms that you understand, Pete. All right. So the Giannis is the old Cassidy of the NBA, okay? And we refused to trade the Brooke Hill of the NBA for the old Cassidy of the NBA. And so now the old Cassidy has to show who he is and why we should have traded for him, while the Brooke Hill is trying to make our organization realize that they should have kept him. And so it's a rare character kind of situation.
What a deep, that's a deep cut.
It is what it is. Everyone would love to have both on their shelves, but in the words of Kevin Hart, the way that my bank account works is there's a savings and a checking.
I will say, I do remember all the Brunson being out last year, still battling through it, that kind of thing, still showing heart. That was impressive. And here he is again. So he seems like he's hurt a lot. Again, very limited information.
But what you know is true. He sacrifices his body quite a lot.
I like his play style. Like when I see him, he's pouring it out there. It's fun to watch. I like that. Yeah.
So come playoff time, what we're gonna have to do, is we're gonna have to do a collaboration. Phil, Frank, Apollo, rare character.
Brunson. We get Brunson to do the pick. He's got some time right now. You told me he's off at least.
That's a low blow. I don't like that.
I think
you know what I mean? Bring him to Nashville. You guys go. Pablo will be there. He'll show up for that.
I think for the nightcap pick, me and Frank got to pick the Knicks pick. That's what we got to do. Frank and I need to pick one. Because
we're not going to put the Knicks on it unless you get the rights, but we can hit.
Oh yeah, no, we'll put my logo on it
around
for the Knicks fans.
In Brazil, they call it the Chutinho. You know what I mean?
It's an embellishment. Yeah.
Colors.
So
they don't know the colors.
You know what's crazy? You know what's crazy about Rare Character? Unlike any other whiskey brand, every single part of my journey of life has found a way to connect with Rare Character in some way, shape, or form. From one of the first people that I really connect with in the community and spend time with, which was Frank, then you guys. Joel, Life of Lux, you guys. But then it goes even crazier when a guy that I used to tour with and used to make music with and hang out with in Ohio, David Puckett, and his band, We Came as Romans, start picking Rare Character bottles. And I hit him up and I'm like, I didn't even know you drank whiskey. And he's like, I didn't know you drank whiskey. And it was just crazy. That's how him and I found out that we both were Rare Character fans.
It's funny. Anyway. I got a wall of a bunch of bottles in the other room, and it's kind of like it's like looking at a slideshow. You know what I mean? Of the history of the things that are going on. And it is cool. It's cool. Like the collaborations and running into a bunch of metal dudes, right? Which you don't run into much in regular life, who drink whiskey and go to bars. Right. But yeah, no, it's cool, man. I mean, that's what I really love about whiskey. I'll say this is I love spirits, right? And I have other spirits brands and whatever, but the way it brings people together, the generosity of people just sharing things, opening things, like just excited to share it. Like that's cool, man. You know what I mean? It's definitely cool. I don't see that in other categories, unfortunately, you know?
Yeah.
I agree.
No, I agree. I love that. All right. So, Frank, throw it to you first and then to Apollo. So, one thing that I'm starting to see is, there's a guy named Stefan Bondi, Knicks beat writer. And, I like Stefan. He's been on my old Knicks shows. Good guy. But he made some comments, trying to stir up the drama of, people that wanted Tibbs fired and, gave Tibbs a hard time for the minute police and everything like that. So he made a comment about Mike Brown and, so no one's going to say anything about Jalen Brunson being on the court with limited time left in the game when it was already out, of, reach for him to be out there. No one's going to talk about Mike Brown not pulling him. And I understand that's fine. You want to make that post, go for it. But when you're trying to bed the argument, he's like Tibbs, that's where I have an issue. Because unlike Tibbs, Mike Brown has already started taking accountability. Even in the post-game interview, he started talking about maybe I have to start playing some of these players less minutes. And he's saying that after their minutes are drastically down from what they were last year. None of our starters are averaging more than 30 minutes a game, as opposed to last year, some of them averaging 36 to 40 minutes a game. And yet he's taking responsibility and saying, hey, maybe we need to, switch the rotations up a little bit. Maybe we need to play these guys a little less. So what are your guys' thoughts? Like, are you on this Stefan Bondi train of, Mike Brown is the same as Tibbs, or that's a stretch and you're pretty much just Knicks for clicks right now?
Knicks for clicks is always the play. Look, I like Stefan Bondi too. He does have some really good takes. I think that the Knicks fan base in general, we need to move on from Tom Thibodeau, man. Like Tom Thibodeau was a really good coach for us. If you feel like he's a level, B level, C level coach, I feel like that's irrelevant. He did great things with the Knicks. He got us very far. I'm very appreciative of everything that he did to build the culture and to really just represent New York well. I think he was a great turning point for us. Now that Mike Brown is, in that seat, Mike Brown has been a great coach in the early season. The offense looks really good. The numbers, as you said, are down in terms of playing time for all our key guys. So it's a more democratized offense. I love everything that I'm seeing from Mike Brown, and namely what you pointed out was the accountability, because I think that Tibbs is a coach who you know what you're getting, and you're always going to get what you expect with Tom Thibodeau. He's going to play his players a lot of minutes. He's going to be very stubborn. The young guys are not going to get any leash ever. Mm-hmm. So don't even ask about, Kolekhive. That doesn't exist.
Yeah, exactly.
So, the people who compare the two, they're night and day, in my opinion, and you can have success in different ways. There's 1,000 ways to skin a cat or to win basketball games. And so I don't like that comparison personally, but I'm with you. I think it's one of those deals where if you're a Stefan Bondi, go ahead, throw it out there. It's fair game to discuss in social media. But in the real world, in terms of really talking X's and O's and breaking it down, I don't really think it's a fair comparison.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts, Paulo?
I saw that earlier. I got the notification while I was at work, and I was like, "Come on, Steph! Like, really?" It's Knicks for clickish, but I also see what he's doing. You know what I mean? I see what he's trying to say there, and his point, and that it's. Maybe Tibbs wasn't doing something bad. You know what I mean? And I get that point. I get that point that you're trying to make, but we need to let it go.
Yeah.
Every time I go on Twitter and something happens, we could win a game and Tibbs' his name will still come up somehow. Yeah. So I'm getting to the point where it's like, all right, like we get it now. Tibbs was one kind of way and Mike Brown is another kind of way. You guys were not really saying much during the 5-game winning streak, ironically. But I get it. It's fine. Like I said, this entire year we're going to hear Tibbs' name. Unfortunately, it's just something that's always going to be tied to this team. He took us the furthest we've been in 20 years, 25 years.
Yeah.
So I get it. I get it. I totally understand. But it's about time to let Mike Brown do his job without that shadow over him, you know, because he's doing a great job with these guys in a short amount of time, and these guys are still learning on the fly. So I think it's a little bit of both. I think Knicks for clicks is a real thing every now and then, but I also think at this point that's just how social media is. You kind of have to engage the people in the conversation, so it's just engagement. But yeah, I'm done hearing Tibbs' name, unfortunately, man.
You know, it's crazy because like every time I see a Tibbs post or anything like that Boys to Men song comes into my mind, like it's so hard to say goodbye,
Right.
and I'm like, just say goodbye to yesterday. Like, like how long? Like, come on, even that song lost its popularity. Like, let it go. You know, you got to move on eventually. And so the only thing that I had a problem with that is that it fuels the fire of so many ignorant Knicks fans that actually do see that as a valid comparison. You know, like, oh, well, Stephen Bondy posted it. And I'm like, I don't care that Stephen Bondy posted it. Like, that does not make it true. Like, if you look at it, how many games has he played that many minutes this season? No other game. You know why? Because no other game was a game that we were starting to come back from and then would lose the lead. Then we'd come back from, and then we would lose the lead. So, yes, we were down, but all through that fourth quarter, within less than 20, 30 seconds, that same lead was cut down to back to 10. How many times? So it wasn't like we were completely out of the game because we were fighting and getting back into the game. Then we would lose it because we did something stupid, but then we would fight and get back into it. So that was the first time that we've actually seen those kind of minutes. And so that's the thing that kind of upset me there. Shout out to my guy, Jay Ellis. He said, every time someone leaves, we hear their name for at least a year. Facts happened with
At least
RJ, IQ, Obi, Grimes, Randall, everybody. And it's true. And since you brought that up, let's talk about it, you know, because it's kind of funny because I was thinking just the other day, I was like, man, I'm thankful for what Tibbs did for us to get us to actually be a contending team, to actually get, you know, players back to want to play at the Mecca, because we were a laughing stock for quite some time. But when I look at Mike Brown's way of running offense, and I think of some of the players that we let go that could have fit this offense. Like when I look at Quentin Grimes as a backup point guard and his fast pace and how he's shined in, you know, Detroit last year. And then when I look at Obi Toppin and I think of a fast pace running offense and needing a backup power forward. And right now we're griping about the fact that Yabusele is out of shape and can't get down the court. And yet we, you know, so it just makes me laugh a little when I go down the roster and I go, man, these guys would have actually fit that offense, would have actually fit a coach who plays a player to their skill sets instead of trying to make that player fall into his way of doing things, which is what Tibbs did. So it made me laugh. So anyway. So, all right. So let's crack open this old Cassidy, the two of us who actually can. All right. This beautiful thing right here. All right. And yours is on the way, Apollo. Yours is on the way.
I know.
123 proof.
I don't get to enjoy it with you guys, man. You know,
next time.
I'm drinking some more Brook Hill here. I'm drinking.
All right.
10-year proof Brook Hill.
Which pick
I'm drinking something else. What am I drinking? I'm actually drinking 2XL Sneakerhead.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we had Deadman on a few weeks ago.
That was a good episode. And by the way, that was the Patrick Ewing dictionary. That one was easy.
Yes, sir. Man, I appreciate you, bro. My boy's locked in.
It was the first one. I was like, huh? Pat?
Oh yeah, that was a fun one. I keep watching that replay, Apollo. If you try to guess it,
did me dirty, man. Did me dirty.
All right, man.
Who here has had like the Anthony Mason side cut going on?
I wish.
Not me.
My mom wouldn't let me get that. I wanted it though. My mom said no.
I mean, that was iconic. I still remember that.
See, the way that my hair works,
A little different.
a little
Yeah.
different. Like I'm Puerto Rican, but I'm not that Puerto Rican. You know what I mean? I got a little bit of Jewish in me that keeps my hair from being nappy. You know what I mean?
I can't say
this is so good.
Yo, that is insane.
Dude, that was hard to get. I'll be honest with you. It was hard for me to get. That's how you know it's crazy.
No, I appreciate it, man.
I barely get the bottles.
When you messaged me and you said I could send you 2 other things or Old Cassidy, I was like, or what? Like, are you even asking me which?
Made sense, right? Frank's here.
And then shout out to Chad. He still sent me 2.
Oh, dude, I had to yell at him to do it, but he did it.
He sent me a VN.
You didn't want to do it. Don't shout about too hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Forget you, Chad. I don't think you like me anyway. What? You don't like me anyway, Chad.
There's no way he made it 94 minutes into this to know what you're saying anyway.
No, not at all. I don't think Chad made it like
the Knicks are a basketball team, bro.
Yeah. I don't think Chad made it 9 or 4 minutes. Like he leaves me anytime that I like send him a message, he leaves
Tomorrow's
me
be like, fuck you. I heard that, dude.
This will be the first time like in our relationship that Chad actually paid attention because I send him a message and every single one is on
he
red.
Loves that though. You know what?
Left on red.
He's learned a lot from Pablo. He loves ignoring messages. I feel bad. I feel like I should respond. You know what I mean?
Which is why I message you because
right.
Pablo
I know.
like,
I get it. It's different roles in life. You know what
Pablo
I mean?
goes, that sounds like a great idea. Let me get back to you. And I was like, that's never happening. You know, if I get that, let me get back to you. I'm like, I'll see you next year, bro. At an event. We're good.
There you go.
Yo, this is delicious. I love it. All right. Ooh, gosh.
What are you guys getting? Tell us about it. Tell us about your experience right now.
Make me jealous, man.
For me, it's like, so because the base is 18 year, you get a lot of oak on it immediately. And like you get some black cherry notes, which for me is like the perfect well-aged whiskey note, at least American whiskey. When you're talking bourbon and you're getting like a black cherry, a little bit of leather, a little bit of oak, and it all comes together like harmoniously. You even get some like vanilla bean ice cream. It's just dessert-like. It's mature. It's delicious. I'm not sharing with anybody but close friends. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah,
this is key. This is staying real close to me.
Shouldn't. We definitely didn't make enough of it. Pablo was like, "Wait, how much did you tell me to make?" And I was like, "A number." He's like, "Well, I'm only making this much." Great.
Thanks, Pablo.
You guys get a lot of internal workings.
No, I love this. Like,
oh, you told me this. No, that's not what I said. All right, well, we'll roll it. That's cool.
Yeah. Like Frank was saying, being that it is, blends of 18, like you get that oak straight up front, but it's not like some are so overpowering with oak that's all you taste, and you're just like, all right, like leaving it in the barrel that long, you didn't do a good job of it. Like this should have been taken out a few years early because it lost all of the flavor, this doesn't have that. Like even in the blend, like that can happen. So what I love about this one is that it does have that oak, but one thing that my sons have been loving because my grandmother on my mom's side and then my dad's been bringing them over are those little chocolate vanilla cone. Like it's got chocolate on the outside, but vanilla on the inside, those like little cones. And I love those because it's like the vanilla shines, but the little pieces of chocolate that you get with it make it so much more balanced of an ice cream that it's like so many different flavors at once. And I've been having the one with like the little fudge in the middle, which is like just a little bit of tiny fudge. And that's what I like about this because it feels like it's got layers upon layers. Like you get like, I don't know if it's like, you said vanilla bean, but I also get like some kind of nut, whether it's like a pecan or something like that. I get that. And then dried cherries. Like, one thing that we have in our freezer all the time that our boys love are the frozen cherries that are dry and you can eat them at any time. And so it's like all those flavors in one with that oak just makes for such a ridiculous pour. And like you know, I sent Apollo a pour because that's my brother. I sent Tony Adams a pour. My wife had a sip the other night.
A sip?
Oh, thank you, calling you.
My wife had a sip. Well, that's because I wanted her to taste it before the episode. I didn't want to like crack the whole look, this is just from now and last night. Like I don't have room to share. Like it's going down. So this is just gonna be me and my closest friends. You know, it's one of those bottles. It's kind of like I don't know. I have like a Heaven Hill 27 that I only share with people that I feel like actually like whiskey, and not just like it, but love it. You know, that's going to be one of those bottles. So I appreciate it, man. Like seriously,
it's funny for me because as like a professional like whiskey critic, like I get so many bottles. I mean, honestly, an average week, I probably get like 14 new bottles like delivered to my front door. And so I tell people all the time, like I give it away to friends. I started giving it away to enemies, but this one I'm not giving to anybody but the closest of close friends. Like this one is staying home.
Yeah. That's incredible. It's delicious. I love it. All right. So let's see what's still on this little list right here. All right. So real quick, I want to give a shout out to one of my sponsors. I will be wearing some of their merch throughout the season. They're called Gusto NYC. And it's a street brand from New York that just loves New York streetwear, has some really, really dope, you know, NYC, New York, Nick collaboration vibes to it. But what I'm highlighting today is this hoodie, this sweatshirt right here. And there's a reason. So as someone that's Puerto Rican, ever since I was young, my grandmother was someone that spent a lot of time with me, poured into me a lot. For those who know my story, this is kind of regurgitation. For those who don't, here it is. But at the age of 2, I was diagnosed with a very rare, aggressive cancer. And things didn't look good, like did not look good. When I actually researched it when I got older, because I didn't fully understand the weight of it when I was super young. But kids my age, I think it was like a 94% chance of not making it. And so by the grace of God, I did. But my grandmother was the one that was always stepping in. You know, my mom had to work full time to pay the medical bills and everything like that. So my grandmother poured into me a lot. And as, you know, a Puerto Rican family, I remember as young as I can be, I'd always walk in the room and I'd say bendición, which means blessings. And she would always say Dios te bendiga, which means God bless you. And so I actually have Dios te bendiga tattooed on my shoulder blades. And so when I saw this hoodie, this crew neck, I needed it because my grandmother right now, for the past few years, has been battling dementia. And she's getting worse and worse. And so when I go to visit her, she lives with my mom and my brother and they take care of her. And it's hard, you know, like I'll see her and she'll be like, I haven't seen you in ages. That I'm like, I was here a month ago, you know, or like we try to, you know, or even coming up the next day after being there for 2 days and seeing her every day. She'll be like, I haven't seen you. Howard's the wife and kids, or she won't remember at all who I am, you know? And so that's been hard. So I saw this sweater and, you know, contacted them and they were like, yo, let us send this to you. You know, like we want to give it to you. And so then they decided to like send me a big care package of a bunch of their stuff. So shout out to Gusto NYC, killer brand, stand-up guy. So I'm very thankful for them for believing in what we're doing and rocking with us. So ending thoughts is going to be, yeah, seriously, they have some really, really dope stuff. And next week I'll be actually tomorrow, I created a video showcasing, you know, some of their clothing that I'll be wearing tomorrow for the game. But closing, we're going to talk about tomorrow's game, how we're going to look against the Heat, what we're going to do against the Heat. Do we think this is going to be a W? Do we think that we're going to take an L here? Like I said, I'm thankful to see that Bam's not there. Kind of levels the playing field quite a bit. You know, like if Bam was there, Brunson was out, that would be a little bit detrimental. But Apollo, what are your thoughts on tomorrow's game?
I mean, man, we guys it's another one of those kind of trap games. You don't want to get caught up in believing that you're going to win because Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo is not there. Guys like Jaime Jaquez still show up. They have a lot of good guys over there, and Coach Bolster, he knows how to coach those dudes. He always has. So we still have to go in there, and we got a day off. I don't want to hear any excuses about legs, anything like that. Go out there and play basketball the way you're supposed to be playing, and the way that you were doing during this run. You were tested. You don't have Jalen, so I don't expect it to be perfect. But we still have enough talent to win this game. We really shouldn't be losing these kind of games. But that's just me personally. This should be a win if we take it serious and we do what we're supposed to do.
All right, what are your thoughts, Frank?
Yeah, I agree 100%, especially about it kind of being one of those trap games where maybe you fall asleep a little bit, maybe you rest on your laurels. You said we came off a bad loss, Jalen's out, maybe that gives us permission to take it easy the next night. But this is the type of game I agree that we should win. I want to see us go in there and take care of business. I want to see us also kind of set the tone because we got them, twice in a row. So you really want to come out on fire and let them know that they're not going to have an easy time playing against this version of the Knicks, whether Jalen Brunson is in the lineup or not. And I think that also speaks volumes to the rest of the league. You want to be able to set the tone and show people if Jalen Brunson is not going to be there, it's the offense that will carry us. It's Mike Brown. It's the supporting cast. The Knicks are a competitive team no matter who's on the floor. I think this is one of those games where I really want to see that come true.
Yeah. And I agree completely. Tomorrow's one of those games where first, we have to show who we are. Like, at the end of the day, we can't go against Miami, who has been a rival for us for quite a while, and allow them to win the first 2 games of the season. Like, that does not set a precedence for the Knicks against the Heat at all. Like, we lost to them already. We can't lose to them this game, especially without Bam being there. Like, this is a game that Cat has no excuse to be dominant. Like, who is the Miami Heat backup center? Anyone know off the top of their mind? No. You know why? Because no one gives a crap who their backup center is. So this is a game where Cat needs to be absolutely dominant, and there's no excuse for him not to be dominant. There's no excuse for him not to completely take over tomorrow's game. This is one of those things where it shows the next man up mentality. Like, okay, our leader is gone. What do you do in that time? Like, all of my favorite movies growing up were like sports movies, like from Mighty Ducks to The Sandlot to The Rookie, like everything was next person up, like, oh, Charlie can't play. Who's going to step up from the Mighty Ducks? Oh, Banks is injured. Who's going to step up? That's what I need to see. That's what I need to see. Who the frick is going to be Fulton? Who's going to knuckle puck it tomorrow? Like, who's going to slap shot the crap out of, like, that's what I want to see tomorrow.
Charlie Banks.
Yeah, like, I
got Knicks by 18 in this one, guys. Knicks
right,
by
good. I'm glad.
From your lips.
I don't know if that's you or the Brook Hill speaking, but I'll take it. No, I love it. I love it. All right, so one thing I want to say is I appreciate both of you guys. Frank, if you have those 14 bottles, don't give them to enemies. You know my number. You know my number. Like, forget your enemies. Keep them enemies. I got you, bro.
I'm trying to keep my enemies close. Isn't that what they say? Friends
I got
close,
you. I
enemies
got you.
closer.
Give them all the fireball. All of
I'm
it.
giving, I'm giving it to Pacers fans at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, bro, consider me an enemy, man.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I hate you. What you
I got
about,
y'all.
Frank? All right, Frank. Let people know where they can follow you, where they can support you, and also like what you have in the pipeline right now.
Yes, sir. So on Instagram, you can find me at Burb Your Enthusiasm. That's going to be BOURB, Your Enthusiasm. On Twitter, had to switch it up. They have a character count, so it's Burb Enthusiasm, same spelling, BOURB Enthusiasm. Also on TikTok, That's more of me kind of just chilling, but I do post a lot of whiskey content on there, and that's going to be Burb Your Enthusiasm again. As far as what's coming up over at Up Rocks, we're doing a lot of video content, so be on the lookout for more shows, more collaborations with brands, hopefully more stuff with Rare Character. I'm pretty sure that we can figure something out, whether it's a single barrel, whether it's something unique like an Old Cassidy. It remains to be seen, but you know, there's a teaser right there to stay tuned. We're having conversations. And aside from that, man, yeah, if you see me on the digital streets, holla at me, say something. If you see me at a bar, buy me a drink because I don't get enough whiskey. And if you see me at a Knicks game, let's go Knicks.
All right. So for those of y'all that are in the chat, those that watch on the replay, gang, in the chat, I actually put an article that he recently released, which are the 50 best bourbons of 2025. And that article was really, really dope. And it honestly will help you guys kind of choose when you're browsing through the liquor store, maybe something that you haven't tried before that you might want to try based off of what you see and the tasting notes that Frank is giving. What's really cool about Frank's account is that it's not just, you know, views for the sake of views. There's some really great content of him interviewing some of the greats within the whiskey culture. So it's a very educational, you know, spot to be in as well. Like, he'll let you know what's great out there, but he'll also help you increase your whiskey intelligence. And he's a Knicks fan, so that alone is worth the follow. I'm sure you follow a bunch of people that have bad taste in whiskey and basketball. At least this guy has good taste in both of them. So support him. And when I get up to New York later on this year, we will connect. I did want to talk to you, and I'll text you. We are already planning for watch parties for the playoffs, where we will be doing different collaborations with different whiskey brands throughout the playoffs, and also have different music artists that have contributed, such as Sky Zoo, who's a diehard Knicks fan.
Fire.
That will be performing at some of those events. So we're really looking forward to it, and we definitely want to collab with you on that. So stay tuned.
Absolutely. Call me, call Max B. Like, well, let's all go.
Okay.
Everybody in New York needs to be
Yeah.
there.
We'll do it. And Mr. Pete, you're not far, you know, so you can take the little like ferry on over from your comfy little land of Jersey, and you can.
I'm in Vegas. I live in Vegas, but
you live in Vegas now.
Yeah, I live in Vegas. So.
Well, we can get you on a little flight, and you can come on over with your little Brook Hill check, and you can, you know, get a first-class flight and come hang out with us. So what do you guys got going on in the pipeline? Tell them where they can follow you. I posted the Rare Character link already, but I want people to know how they can support what you guys are doing.
Sure. At Rare Character Whiskey on IG, at Pete of Discovery is me. We are actually doing a merch drop. My story is not nearly as sentimental, so I won't spend much time on it. This is a one of one. We haven't put it out yet, but this might come out later. But we're doing a merch drop tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Pacific of the winter collection, right? So we got cool winter stuff. You get a Brook Hill pin for your Christmas tree, whatever. Anyway, Old Cassidy, it's dropping. Where can you find it? No idea. Find it with Frank.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Go find it with Frank. He has no idea too. And then, dude, we're dropping we're excited. We're making a product called Hearsenal, which is our first product for cocktails, right?
Okay.
It's a 7-year Kentucky rye, 101 proof. It's dope. It's delicious. The idea is you can buy it, you can find it. You don't have to know Frank to taste it. You know what I mean? That's the idea, right? So we're excited about it. Like, pour it, drink it, love it. So that should be soon. We're bottling it tomorrow, and it's going to select markets. But we're excited about that. And yeah, of course, we always got a bunch of shit up the sleeve. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know? Nice. But a lot of fun things coming. Thanks for the support.
So for our viewers that are actually in New York right now, do you know any spots right now that currently have Rare Character drops?
No.
All right, sorry, guys.
Not really. I mean, look, I can tell you who usually has our stuff. Let's say that, because I don't know current level.
Okay.
So bar-wise, there's a rad bar called Travel Bar.
Love Travel Bar.
Dope, right? And then what's it called? Moonlight Mile, also in Brooklyn, but on the north side. Cool stuff at their bar. Some of the better, like independent retail would have stuff from us, right? Like Blue Streak, or what's his name over at 58th Street, right?
Sean.
I could tell you they have it and they sold out yesterday and they don't have it. Park Ave have our stuff, have you?
Yeah.
Astor tends to have our stuff. But yeah, it's a challenge to kind of say, hey, it's definitely here. Or that information, which sounds, that's an annoying answer. I apologize.
No, you're good. And for those that are a little bit outside of the city, you can follow Woody's, I believe it's called.
Woody's, those are our boys. Yeah.
Woody's, they got some incredible barrel drip stuff. Like their TKO is one of my favorites. So shout out to those guys.
Oh, I'm gonna ask him for it. I heard he's holding some back.
Oh, I bet he is. Oh, I have a crazy story. I'm gonna put him on blast real quick. All right. I'm gonna
put him on blast. Raj, put up his cell phone. Tell him where to get that TKO.
So I take the drive from the city, right? I meet Tony Adams out there because I see that they have they have a few TKOs left on their website. So I go there and it says that there's like 6 or 7, right? So I was like, all right, dope. I'm going to pick some up for me, some of my best friends.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy a Tony one, like all this stuff. So I get up there and they're like, how many you want? And at first I was like, all right, give me 3, and then Tony was like, oh, I really want one. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get you one. So I was like, let me just get all 6. And they're like, oh, sorry, sold out. And I was like, you just told me you had 6.
They said they were sold out
seconds ago. And nobody's come to buy Rare Character TKO since I was in line. And they're like, sorry.
I like
they're
that.
like, it was a glitch in the system. Yeah, they told me it was a glitch in the system, and I'm like, no, you're the glitch in the system. Like, you're lying to me. Like, what the frick?
How many do you want? Wait, we don't have any.
Yeah,
we have this other great thing right here. That's sales, though, bro. Oh, but we have this.
Yeah. So I ended up giving Tony one of them, and one of my homies from Tampa got shafted. They didn't get the TKO. So if you're watching this, Mr. Barrel Drip, like, what's the deal? But shout out also. There's some good drops that Preets has done as well. And those are typically available for shipping as well, which makes it even better because you don't have to live in New York to be able to purchase it. So Preets Liquors has had some really good picks as well. But no, I appreciate you both for being on the show. Love both of what you guys are doing. I definitely want to partner with Frank and, you guys and try to work on something for the Knicks Nightcap. That's one thing that we've been doing is as we've talked to brands, we've realized why don't we start picking, picks with these brands? So we've already landed 3 or 4 this season that we'll be doing in this year, going out and picking barrels with them. So would love to do one, obviously, with one of my favorites in Rare Character, and supplement my addiction by selling Rare Character to buy Rare Character. So that'll be a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Virtuous cycle.
Getting high on your own supply.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. But I appreciate you both. And Apollo, any closing thoughts before we allow ourselves to head on home?
No, man. Just take care of business, man. Drink some good whiskey. Find you some Old Cassidy if you can. No matter how difficult that might be. Yeah, man. Just get back to what we were doing during the winning streak. Don't let Jalen being out, dim the light. Just keep doing what you guys are doing. Get back to that and play defense and get out and transition, which is another thing that they weren't doing last night. If you get to playing better defense and getting out in transition, that'll get things rolling. So, yeah, man, just getting back to what they were doing before, and they'll be fine. I think this is just a blip. I want to get too concerned, but yeah, man, they should be fine.
Yeah, no, I agree. I believe we, come up with the win against Miami. I don't think it's going to be too hard with Bam gone, because
18.
if you look at what
18, bro,
18, baby, 18.
Let's go.
18.
Oh man, I'm gonna laugh if we actually win by 18.
It's gonna be
Yeah,
crazy.
you got to watch the betting lines now.
You gotta clip it. You're gonna have to clip this.
Yup.
I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm gonna call you for all sports betting from now on. But when you look at that last game, Bam was the one doing most of the damage. So I'm excited that he's not going to be there with Jalen being gone. But once again, thank you both. If you guys can, please support Rare Character. Pick up a bottle. Find your local store. Like, there's going to be something close. And if not, get on Facebook. Like, there's people selling Rare Character on Facebook all the time. You might pay a little more than you would have at the store, but trust me, it's worth it. Like, there are times where I will seriously find a bottle that I know people want, and I'll solely buy it because I know I'm going to trade it for something in Rare Character. So I'll just buy that as like trade bait. So there's always someone that wants to be a fool and trade you for something. So allow that. What were you going to say, Pete?
No, it's all strategy. I love that. I'll shout out Frank too. You should check out his piece, 20 Ryes You Need to Drink Before You Die. There's a Brook Hill on there. Thank you. That I also don't have. You see what's happening. You get Pablo's probably got 6 of them in his house, right? I've got 0, but I know it's amazing. And this guy's putting out crazy content. Looking forward to collaborating with you guys.
No, you know what's crazy? You know what's crazy? As someone who's a diehard whiskey fan and also a diehard sneakerhead, I got so pissed being online and seeing all those Brook Hill freaking Nikes show up on my feed. That junk pissed me off. Like, I was so mad seeing so many people be like, look what I got. I'm like, real cool. Like, show off. Like, muted. I muted so many people that day.
But you don't want them either because they're black and red. So it's like you can't even really wear them.
Oh, there you go.
No. Hold on. That ain't true, bro. That ain't true.
He's like, actually, watch this.
This he's got something weird with it.
It goes perfect.
There you go.
It goes perfect. All right. So
there you go.
Yeah, it goes perfect with my black Knicks hoodie and that hat right there. So I was pissed when I saw that. It was right after Black Bourbon Run. I was like, forget all y'all. You're muted. Unfollow. Like Black Bourbon Run. Yeah. Anyway, so thank you all to everybody in the chat.
No.
Shout out right here to Gene, Shorts, and Time. And Tim's. All right.
Real New York.
That's what's up. Yeah, for real. Like, that's one thing I do like, getting the hard hat and the Tims right now. If you play defense as the Knicks.
Oh, that's fine.
Shout out to those. That's like hard. That. But anyway, appreciate you all in the chat for rocking with us. Those that are watching on replay, gang, please make sure to support both Pete and Pablo at Rare Character. Support Frank and everything that he's doing. Trust me, if you guys love my whiskey takes, you're going to love his whiskey takes as well. Like, this is one of the few in the industry that I actually like sit and watch his stuff. There's a lot of people that I love, support them, hit a like and kind of scroll. I can't spend that much time on a live, but this guy's lives are definitely worth watching. Educational, will grow you, help you learn what you want to do. And like I said, he's a Knicks fan, which you don't find a lot in the whiskey community because people got good taste in whiskey and bad taste in basketball. That's just how it is. So anyway, until next time, appreciate you all. God bless. And like always, drink responsibly. Let's go Knicks.
This is the moment we waited for. Everything you want is right here. We gon' give them what they came for. We gon' take it up from last year. Shoot 'em my shot, boy, I'm long range. Me and the team on the same thing. Stayed down, never switched up. Only thing changed was the game. I'm in the zone now. Nothing can change what we on now.